when the billionaire class starts to express their concerns and talk about the possibilities of the US economy falling into a recession or even worse, then we all should pay attention. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Damon, back with another video for you, back with more content. I know I've been gone for a while, but it's good to be back. And look, today we are talking about Trump's tariffs and the potential recession that the US economy may fall into. So today, Trump announced that he was exempting smartphones, chips, and other electronics, semiconductors, and all of those things from the 125% tariffs that come from China. Normally, the markets would have popped on that type of news. But then later on this afternoon, we heard more information saying that that exemption from the tariffs is only going to last for a month or two. So still, we have this uncertainty coming from the White House and from the leadership of our country about the direction of these tariffs and what's going to happen with these tariffs. And it's causing uncertainty in the stock market, uncertainty in the business community. And the one thing that the market does not like is uncertainty. Businesses cannot plan around uncertainty. In fact, a lot of companies are saying that they are going to stop providing guidance because they don't know what's going to happen in the markets because of the uncertainty coming from the White House. It's not a way to run a country. It's not a way to lead the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Imagine if you were a business owner of a Fortune 500 company, you know, the owner of a business that exports or imports, for that matter, products and materials in and out the country. It's hard for you to even forecast what the future may look like 3 to 6 months from now with all of this uncertainty. And so that's the reason why CEOs all over this country are going crazy right now and are not able to manage their business properly, because day by day, we don't know what kind of information or news we are going to hear from the White House. You know, today we hear one thing, tomorrow we may hear something completely different. And so we have a president who is literally flying by the seat of his pants when it comes to the economy. We understand the mission. We understand the goal that he is trying to accomplish. We are trying to get America into a position of fairness when it comes to trade with other countries, because true enough, a lot of these other countries have become rich. They have become very prosperous because of the trade agreement that is currently in place with the United States. You know, we have brought trillions and trillions of wealth into the world just based off of the US economy alone because of the trade agreements that we have. You know, we are in a place where the trade agreement is not fair. We understand that, we know that. It has been that way for decades. And president after president, leadership after leadership, administration after administration, they never addressed it. But Trump, you could have rolled this out better. You could have planned this out better. You could have got with your economist, you could have got with other analysts, and you could have rolled this whole thing out a lot better. Now we are in a position where economists are predicting that there is a 40% chance that the US economy may fall into a recession or worse because of Trump's tariffs. And you know, the last recession that I remember was back in 2008. But the difference with that recession is that recession was based on things that were going on in the economy. You know, it was more organic. This recession is self-inflicted. We did not have to make these decisions. We did not have to spark a trade war with every country on the face of the planet. We did not have to go down this path. And like I said, I agree that the trade agreements need to be that they need to be renegotiated, but it could have been done better. It could have been rolled out better instead of just making a whole bunch of decisions and then just letting the whole thing crash and burn potentially and then seeing what happens. This could have more effect. This could cause more damage to our economy and our country and our reputation around the world than we even know. And so we have a lot of companies predicting that they may have to lay off employees. If companies start laying off employees, that's going to cause the unemployment rate to rise, which we don't have a problem with the unemployment rate right now. Based on recent data, we see that the unemployment rate is cool right now. But if companies cannot forecast or predict, or if they cannot have some type of certainty on the direction that their company is going to take, then they will start laying people off. And that will cause our unemployment rate to rise. We are already seeing an increase in the interest rates, which will affect the housing market. You know, folks will find it harder to buy homes if the interest rates are too high. We are already seeing, you know, the credit markets being affected. You know, a lot of people are defaulting right now on their credit card payments. I saw a statistic where people are behind by 90 days or more on their credit card payments more than ever before because of the increase in interest rates, and people are just not able to make their minimum payments right now. This is not good. This is not looking good at all. And remember, this is self-inflicted. This did not happen organically. It's self-inflicted because of our leadership that we have in place, because of the decisions that he's making. That is the difference between what we are dealing with and what we saw in 2008. And if interest rates continue to rise, businesses will find it harder to find loans, you know, because businesses depend on the credit markets. That's how they start businesses. That's how they grow their businesses. That's how they sustain and maintain their businesses. If we continue to see these rise in interest rates in the credit market, it will affect businesses. It will affect corporations who hire and employ tens of thousands, millions, tens of millions of people. So say, for instance, if everything goes well, which eventually I believe it will, because I am a person of faith, I am a man of prayer, and I just simply believe that things will get better. But as it stands right now, America is facing global backlash. I saw an article that says as American tourists are facing backlash when they go to visit other countries. One of the campaign promises, you know, that President Trump said was that the world will respect us again. Well, Donald, this does not look like respect. In fact, I believe a lot of leaders around the world, a lot of countries around the world, a lot of people around the world, they are not too fond of the United States, the American president, and Americans right now. You know, and I have a trip coming up pretty soon where I'm going to be traveling out of the country. I would hate for people to have a disdain towards me because of the decisions that are being made in the White House. I don't have anything to do with those decisions. You know, I'm just here, you know, as an American citizen, but I hope I don't face any backlash on my trip when I travel out of the country. And people from other countries are not traveling to the United States as frequently as they used to. And so this thing is affecting tourism. It's affecting everything right now. And it's self-inflicted. We did not have to do this at all. You know, so we'll see what happens. And trust me, I get it. I understand why President Trump made these decisions, why he chose, you know, to make certain moves. You know, America is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. We have made other nations very, very rich. We are the largest consumer market in the whole entire world. I believe somewhere in the 20th percentile of the GDP of all countries. He is negotiating from a position of leverage. the cards are more in our hands and more favorable towards our country than they are towards the other countries. So I understand the tactic. It's a power move, but I just think that this could have been handled better. Decisions are being made or seem like they're being made on a day-by-day basis. And this flying by the seat of your pants, don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next, this will not make America great again. Uncertainty is never a good thing. It's always a bad thing when it comes to the stock market, when it comes to business. You need to be able to forecast and have some type of guidance or have some type of direction on laws that are being made, decisions that are being made in Washington, D.C. Right now, we don't have that. We have an administration that is flying by the seat of its pants, trying to figure it out as it goes along. And a lot of people are being devastated and hurt in the process. The best advice that I can say is, again, buy and hold. Continue to invest in the stock market, because if there is one glimmer of hope, we know that no matter what our country has gone through, no matter what our stock market has gone through, it has always bounced back. So don't have a short-term outlook when it comes to the stock market. Think long-term, especially if this is not money that you're going to need to spend anytime soon. You can stay invested in the market. You can weather the storm. Don't make rash decisions based on what's going on today. Remember your long-term outlook. Remember your long-term goals. But I do agree that in the interim, in the short term, it does not look good. And it looks like we are about to go into a self-inflicted recession. But like I said, the glimmer of hope is that the American economy, the American stock market has always bounced back, regardless of what it has gone through. So in closing, I want to say, let's pray for our leadership. Let's pray for President Trump, and that we will be able to move forward on solid ground versus this instability and uncertainty that we are experiencing right now. We need to be praying for our leadership rather than criticizing them too harshly. We can criticize them because that's what we do here in this country. We have the freedom of speech to criticize our leadership, to say, hey man, you messing up, you did this wrong, you doing that wrong. We can do that because we still have freedom of speech to say what we want to say in this country. But at the same time, we should also be praying for our leadership and praying that God will bless this great nation, the United States of America. So that's all I have for you guys today. It is good to be back. It is good to be seen again. I took a few weeks off because I just got busy, and also I was just a little bit lazy. I didn't really want to get in front of the camera, but I am committed to bringing content to you guys on a regular basis moving forward. So thank you guys for joining me today. Stay in faith, stay hopeful, and let's pray for our country. Let's pray for our leadership. God bless you. I'll talk to you guys soon.